I agree that the moon landing happened.
No.
But it was filmed in a freaking studio, y'all.
We knew it was coming.
This is Big Dink Energy, the pickleball podcast that's half insight, half nonsense, and all entertainment. If you love pickleball, don't take yourself too seriously and think a little trash talk makes the game better, welcome home. This is the place where life and pickleball intersect. We celebrate the chaos, call out the nonsense, and put the fun back in dysfunction. You're either in or you're out. And if you're still listening, you're in. So let's go. Big Dink Energy starts now. The official podcast of pickleball coming to your ear holes right now.
Well, before we get started on kitchen talk, because I have quite a different topic to speak about, I did want to bring in our episode sponsor, who is the Pretty Pickleball Company.
Woohoo!
You know what's funny is that people see my paddle from the Pretty Pickleball Company and think that I'm just here to look pretty. Yes, like it's gorgeous. It looks like it walked out of your favorite fairy tale. But also, this thing plays like a beast.
A beast.
It's T700 carbon fiber. It's USA Pickleball approved. It's got tons of spin, power, and control. All things that let me win on the court when I can. Also, letting my inner princess shine. So yeah, it's pretty, but it's also pretty unfair once you start winning with it. Use code BIGDINKEnergy15 at theprettypickleballcompany.com, theprettypickleballcompany.com to bring your beauty to the court and play like a beast.
Like a beast.
And I used it to go get my duper rating. I used that paddle and it was legit. And the coach was like, that's a cool paddle. He was all
Nice.
about it. So I just want to put it out there. And I used it at a tournament. But let's not think the paddle gave me how I ranked in that tournament. That was more of just my duper score being really low.
You were super duper is what they
You
said.
did. I was so excited when I got your results.
I used my my Pretty Pickleball paddle, and at open play the other day, there was this little girl and she ran by the paddle stacking and then she came back and pointed at it and told her mom, look at how pretty that paddle is.
Oh, I
those are
love
awesome.
that.
I was like,
Awesome.
oh, so
That's
cute.
the
So,
best
I
in
wanted
real
to
time.
Just
Go-
shout it
go-
out there. It's not just a cute paddle. It is legit and is so awesome to use.
Yeah,
So.
go find
It
them.
is super
Go
cute.
find them out there. What do you want? You were talking about something before we started, Paddle Princess. It was something about a hill to die on or something like that.
Okay, so this is what happened at my daughter's graduation party. We're getting ready. I'm having all of these people over at my house, many of which I don't want to be there and don't like. But I'm getting everything set up.
You know who you are out there.
And I am very specific about one certain thing, and it drives me crazy. But to everyone else, they're just like, what are you talking about? To me, the toilet paper should always roll over and you should kind of like tuck it in. And my husband is just like all willy-nilly going in there and putting the toilet paper in however
Just
he
any old
wants.
kind of way.
Yeah,
Like,
so
What a savage.
Upside, like
rolling
underneath.
backwards
Oh, I don't like that.
or
Yeah,
over. And I feel like the proper way for toilet paper is it should roll over instead of under it. To me, I don't know if it's dirty when it rolls under it or what.
For our listeners, let me put this in context that you'll understand. Beard, not mullet, for the toilet
Yes.
paper.
Beard, not mullet.
Beard, not mullet.
Gotcha. Okay, that took me a whole hot second. But anyways, it got me thinking about, okay, this is a stupid hill that I am absolutely willing to die on.
I'm with you on
Like
this
I
one.
am absolute like, okay, this is my hill. The toilet paper needs to go over and my husband wants to put it under. It doesn't really matter. Why do I care so much? But I know that other people have those kinds of things, like the one hill that you are willing to die on that does not matter to anyone at all.
How much time do we have? How much
All right, let's go,
time
Steph.
do
What
we
is yours?
have
Guy,
on
guy
this?
can go because
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
go.
Oh,
Go.
crunchy peanut butter is superior to all other peanut butters.
No.
Okay.
Yes. Don't bring your smooth butted peanut butter into this house. Nobody wants that.
Smooth butted.
No,
Love it.
absolutely
I mean, if-
not. That's
if
just
it's-
like it's baby food.
If it's crunchy, I mean, it's not like I'm not going to eat it, but I mean, I prefer smooth peanut butter.
Get out of here.
That's a hill
get-
you're going to die on, right?
Yeah.
That's your hill.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Have you ever put crunchy peanut butter or smooth peanut butter on toast? One's
Smooth.
a party in your mouth, and the other is diarrhea.
Your son likes crunchy too.
Hell yeah, he does. He knows what's up. I'm getting extra nuts. I'm going for the extra
Why do you
nut.
need the extra nuts?
You're going for the extra nut.
When
I
I'm
get
putting
it.
when I'm putting it up on my toast and in my mouth, I want the extra nut.
I get it.
I'm sorry. I am the
Flavor.
absolute opposite.
You like smooth.
Yes.
Me too.
I like creamy peanut butter. I
Me
don't
too.
want it crunchy.
No.
No. The crunchiness is the toast.
Here's the
That's
thing.
the crunch factor.
Here's the
You
thing.
don't need additional crunch factor.
Here, both of you go get your carpet squares and go to timeout because this is like daycare type of food when you're getting smooth peanut butter.
See?
So you're saying adult peanut butter is crunchy peanut butter.
Adult peanut butter is crunchy.
Okay.
Yes.
Whatever.
Yes, absolutely.
that could have been a Dink or Destroy.
Okay, so I may have missed the memo of how this was supposed to go.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yes.
so let's hear yours.
It's getting
I want to hear yours
awesome.
now.
Oh,
Wow.
it's going to cost me some friendships.
Oh, Lord.
But it's okay. I'll die on this hill.
Okay.
I'll bring my lawn chair and receipts and just sit up there by
Okay.
myself if I have to. I know there's at least one person in my close circle that agrees with me. I agree that the moon landing happened,
No.
but it was filmed in a freaking studio, y'all.
We knew it was
Stop it.
coming.
Stop it.
We knew it was coming.
So
Y'all
wait,
can,
so,
y'all
okay,
can
hold on,
fight
hold-
me. Y'all
hold
can do
on.
whatever y'all
This
want.
isn't, no,
but-
that's a whole nother topic.
That's a
That's a
whole
whole nother
long
kitchen
I get
talk.
that. I get that. But
We're
y'all
going to
asked
do that.
me.
We will do weird ass conspiracy theories.
We
and
need to have that a whole show.
nother- that may be
But
episode 20.
Y'all asked me, what hill am I going to die on?
Okay.
It is straight up. I will bring snacks. I will stay up there by myself. I'm telling you right now. Let me give you this 1997. Do y'all know what that is?
1997.
Yes. That is my 10th grade pager code. If I can remember and find that, why can we not find these film? Why can we not find?
We
Why
have
did
the
they
film.
lose it? NASA lost it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I have my pager number from 10th grade, but NASA doesn't. Anyways, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
I won't dive any deeper.
Well, if we can put a man on the moon, why can't my printer work? I'm just saying.
Yeah. No, I mean,
Like-
why do we have to hold on to wires and flip? I'm just saying this is where I plant my feet.
I love
So
that.
wait a minute. Well,
Love
so
that.
we went from toilet paper being beard not mullet to crunchy peanut butter, adult peanut butter, to one of the largest conspiracy theories.
Well, y'all.
Okay, welcome
Y'all
to
didn't
our
give me-
brains.
So
this
we were
is
just
how we work.
we were using 22 long rifle, and you came with a 50 cal.
Y'all did not give me boundaries. Y'all did not give me
We should know better.
boundaries.
It is our fault. It's our
Y'all
fault.
did not give me
Okay, well,
boundaries.
next time we'll be a little bit more clear with conspiracy
It's our
Sorry,
theories.
y'all.
fault.
I love it. Love it.
We're gonna do. We will do an episode on conspiracy theories because I have
Mhm.
some too. And
Okay, so
Oh,
I just
God.
want to say welcome to the inside of our brains. This is literally how our conversations go. We
Oh,
start off on
gosh.
one topic and we go deep dive into a whole nother topic.
That was like the whole iceberg, and I'm really sorry.
oh yeah, the
Don't be
Titanic.
sorry.
You want to talk about the iceberg? and
Titanic is going down.
Let's go.
The Titanic is going
That's
down. Or
next
did
Die
week.
on that hill too.
Or did it? Or did it?
I will die on
Oh
those
my
hills.
God.
Yes,
Oh
that's
my
awesome.
So many hills
gosh,
I'm ready to
no.
dive on.
You are.
I was so
if you're
excited
not-
for this topic. I knew she was going to come with
If
something
you're not
hot.
banging the steering wheel in your car right now,
Honk your horn if you hate me.
Or honk if you agree.
Hey, I have tons of friends that disagree with me, and they still love me.
all right. Now here you go. Go over to the bdepodcast.com or go find us on Instagram and tell us. Don't tell us your conspiracy theory yet. We will bring that up, or maybe to go ahead and put it in there. But what is the hill you're willing to die on that really doesn't matter? Also, chime in about the crunchy peanut butter. I know my peeps are out there. I need to find where you are and tell us what you think about your toilet paper. Send us pictures of your toilet paper if you want
Are
to.
you an over or an under? Which way do you go?
I'm an over for sure. I'm a beard,
Same.
not a mullet for sure. And just like Brenda Lopez did, Brenda, we saw you listening to us in your car.
Woohoo!
Brenda is with Cash Queens Pickleball Tournaments. She tagged us in her Instagram stories. You all be like Brenda. Be more like Brenda, and we will feature
Be like
you on the
Brenda.
podcast too.
Yeah.
Or maybe we won't. Maybe it'll be too creepy, and we won't say anything about it. But either way, tag us in all of your Instagram, all your stories, where and when you're listening to us, and give us a shout out. We love it.
Just the tip.
Quick pickleball wisdom you can use in and out before you know it. Just a tip is brought to you by that pickleball swag. Yeah, I said that pickleball swag because looking good shouldn't stop at your third shot drop. We're talking court drip for days, bro. Tees that talk smack, towels that don't quit, and yes, a shark coochie board. So classy, it makes your paddle feel undressed. If your gear's boring, that's a you problem. Fix it at That Pickleball Swag. ThatPickleballSwag.com.
Look at these cute
Okay.
cups. We use
I
them
know.
every time we do our
Love our wine
podcast
glasses.
because it's
So
the only
cute.
time we drink.
Oh, gosh. Okay, yes. We're telling lies early on in the podcast. Here we go. So, did you all know you can hit the ball with your hand?
No.
Yes, you can hit the ball with your hand. Rule 7H, ball contact faults. A fault occurs when, after the serve, the ball contacts a player or anything the player is wearing or carrying except the player's paddle, the player's hand or hands below the wrist that is in contact with the paddle. If the ball strikes any other part of the player's body, clothing, or equipment, it is considered a fault against the player who was hit.
Yeah, that makes sense. I had my hand on my paddle
Yep.
and hit it and
Below
it's
the
hit,
wrist.
and it's hit my hand
Yep.
and went over. And of course, these nails.
Yeah, the talons that you have.
Always be hitting. Always be hitting.
Okay.
Big talons.
Just the tip.
It's time for Pickle Pals.
All right, our guest today on Pickle Pals is Evan Slaughter, a.k.a. Fit to Serve 1 on Insta. He's a U.S. Army veteran, a recovering addict, and a guy who somehow built a brand around burpees, brokenness, and a dad bod vulnerability he's got going on. This man has lived through war zones, withdrawals, and WODs, and now he's out here spreading the gospel of growth while rocking mid-thigh shorts and a midsection that says, yeah, I've probably done a couple push-ups. So, Evan, thanks for being on today. Man, it's a joy to talk to you. And man, listen, I really fully thought we were coming into this interview with no shirts on. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Well, I was prepared to have the shirt off. I mean, as you can see, I'm outside. So I was thinking, is this an environment where I should have my shirt off? Or
Is there ever an environment where you shouldn't have your shirt off?
that's the question. That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah. If you go over to Evan's Insta and his Facebook pages and all of his websites, you'll see Evan is not a shirt owner of any sort. That one is probably actually borrowed.
That's right.
So you run this thing
Borrowed it
called,
just for this podcast.
yeah, thanks so much for doing that, shirting it up for us. So you run this thing called Evan's Laughter, is that right?
Evan's Laughter. That's it. Now, it's funny you mentioned that because people all the time ask how I spell my last name, which I didn't think, Slaughter. That's a pretty common word. A lot of people know, but I guess it confuses people when they hear it. And I learned one time when I was playing Little League Baseball, the S on my jersey in the back, you couldn't see. The shirt was kind of over it, so it just said Laughter. And so, my parents are sitting back there watching, and they see, and they told me afterwards, they're like, oh, it said Laughter on your shirt when you're up there to bat. And so I remembered that. I was thinking, well, that's how I tell people to spell it now. Just spell laughter. Most people know how to spell laughter and put an S in front.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You were an 11 Bravo, so I'm not quite sure laughter would be one of those things. If you told an 11 Bravo just spell laughter, they still would look at you like a dog who just heard a big word. You know what I mean?
That's true. It is a long word.
Yes, it is. And the Marines would never get it. They'd be too busy chewing on crayons to get anything like that for sure.
That's right.
So you spent a ton of years trying to control how people saw you, right? So I got to ask, what's the dumbest thing you did to impress someone before you just learned to stop caring and leading into everything you're doing now?
Oh, gosh. I would say I bought a BMW 3 Series when I had no money to do so. And this was back just right in the thick of the addiction. So I was making a lot of bad decisions, but I thought, think about my ex. I was like, man, I wonder if I can get her back if I impress her and show her how good I'm doing. Now I have this car. Now I have this, and I was completely delusional. So I bought this BMW. I think the interest rate was 14%. And
yeah, that's
11,
great soldier
12%.
interest rates right there.
Yeah. And didn't make a payment on it, and they repoed it about 3 months later.
What? That's what happened.
And then I went to rehab. Yep.
Yeah. They're and you bought the 3 Series too. So you were like, I want to impress her a little bit, but I can't go all the way to 5 or 7.
Yeah, this is all I can afford. I can't even afford this. This is all they'll approve me for. Let's go with the 3 Series.
Full send on it, right? Yeah, you definitely bought it outside a military base.
I ended up paying for it, actually, now that I think about it, because even though I didn't make a payment for it in the first 3 months and they repoed it, when I got out of rehab and I was turning my life around, I sold my house and I had to pay a bunch of debt back. And fortunately, I had the
Yeah.
money to do so. So they ended up winning big time on that.
Oh yeah, yeah. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing with those
Right.
interest rates and the contracts. So,
Yep.
man, you call your brand Fit to Serve. I love it. If I had one, it'd probably be Fit to Nap, as an older old Army guy. So, what point in your life did service stop being survival and then start being the mission for you?
That's a good question. For me, in the beginning, whenever I came up with Fit to Serve, and I don't know if I've told too many people this, but I'd gotten out of the military. I'd been really active most of my life. I was personal trainer for a little while before the Army. I was studied, exercise science some in college, and I liked fitness. I liked helping people get into shape. So I start Fit to Serve, and this was actually, yeah, I'd gotten out of the Army. I was looking for something to do. I was sober at the time, not on, addicted. I'd kind of gone in and out of addiction issues, but at the time I was sober, doing fine, and I thought of Fit to Serve, thinking that we need to be physically fit in order to serve other people. It talks about in the Bible that we're called to go and, go out and serve. And so that was my mindset, is like, how can we go if we're not physically capable? So I think, I'm going to help people get in shape with the, intentions of it being a way of us being able to be physically fit to go and serve other people. And so I started this little workout group. It was on Saturdays. It was free to anybody that wanted to come. And after a while, I kind of stopped doing that. And then I get back into struggling with addiction issues for hopefully the last time. And I go through this other little time period where I was, struggling. And so when I got sober this last time and I came back to my Instagram and everything, well, I'd already had Fit to Serve as my handle. So I just kept it that. But my mindset changed. And it changed from, we don't have to be physically fit in order to serve. And I started thinking, but in my old mindset, if a requirement was being physically capable in order to go and serve, then how could someone who's handicapped go and serve? How could someone who's paralyzed go and serve? How could my buddy that lost his legs in Afghanistan be of service if he
Right.
can't, so that conception changed for me. Now, obviously, I think it is important to be physically fit, but my mindset now is behind it. Fit to Serve for me means that we're all fit in some way. We're all capable. We're all equipped in some shape, form, or fashion
Mhm.
to be of service. And
Yeah.
so what does that look like? For me, I find comedy as a way of being of service.
Yeah.
I can remember being in rehab and even Afghanistan, in the environment where it can be tough, it can be challenging. And you've got the guy that makes everybody laugh, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yep.
being of service, and you're down, you're sad, you're thinking about home, whatever. Someone comes and makes you laugh, genuinely laugh. I think that's kind of a way of being of service. So I figured out that, I think that we're all equipped in some way. We're all capable. You think about the school teacher who teaches kids. I couldn't do that, man. I couldn't be in
Yeah.
a classroom with
No.
third graders all day
No.
trying to teach somebody. So that's a gift. That's a way of that person being of service in my mind. So that's where it kind of came from, and that's where it ended up with Fit to Serve. And I think the meaning for it now for me is really what is going to stick.
Yeah, that's something that, I'd say 1% or maybe less than 1% of the population will ever understand, is that gallows humor, right? Bombs are going
Yeah.
off, bullets are flying around us. We're in the worst of the worst, but somehow someone like you will crack that joke and break the tension. We'll all, realize, okay, we're all in this together. We're all going to get through this together. We're going to lean on one another. And I think, as our society, I don't think we do that anymore. We lean on one another
Right.
in the virtual world. Thoughts and prayers, we always see that, but
Yeah.
we don't do it in person necessarily anymore. You'd see someone sooner, you take a tumble, you see someone sooner pull out their phone than to pull up next to you and try to help you,
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah, I can see where a lot of that comes in, and being able to make jokes and crack jokes and have fun in those situations, obviously to a bigger stage where there's not all that stuff going on. Man, you're bringing it on all the screens that you're on. Everything that I've seen, that humor comes right through everything that you're doing.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's something I feel like has just kind of been naturally something I've, had in my life. Always been the funny one. I think when I was younger, my mom would, she would refer to it not as humor, but as being a smart ass, probably. So
Yeah.
it's got its,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
got its downside at certain times. But now the way I like to see it is I think it's a way of bringing some light to the world and, trying to reach people through comedy. That's a big thing. Comedy, I think, breaks down a lot of barriers. You look at this past election and,
Hmm.
Donald Trump was going on a lot of different podcasts, right? Well, they were comedy podcasts,
Yep.
Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn,
Yep.
Bussin' with the Boys is more of a sports one, but it's still comedic in its own way. And that's because comedy has no, it can break down those barriers and reach people. And so that's kind of what I figured out with my page is I was making people laugh, especially with the fitness stuff and everything. But at the same time, I was getting messages from people talking about how much it was helping them. And I didn't see that side of it. I'm sitting here making funny videos about myself trying to get back in shape. And then
Right.
I have people that are genuinely reaching out and sending me these messages saying, like, hey, I know this is funny, but just so you know, you're really actually helping me to find the confidence to get back and go to the gym. They see me taking my shirt off and running around acting like an idiot, and it helps them in their own way find confidence to go back to the gym.
And then you combine it with pickleball, right, which is the weird cousin of tennis, and so
Yeah.
there's comedy in that as well. Pickleball gets clowned on so much, but I love it, because the community is so amazing. I think you found that too, right? So you found pickleball as sort of a therapy mechanism for you. Is that right?
Yeah, 100%. It's actually funny because I learned pickleball in rehab, and that's one of the shirts I sell of my own merch. It says, I learned pickleball in rehab,
That's
and that's
awesome.
true, because that's where I first learned it. And I had people that were there, guys that I met that became friends. Some of the people that teach some of the classes there, they would come out and we would just play pickleball. And it was a way to socialize and to mingle again and to laugh again for the first time in a while. So pickleball for me has been very therapeutic in its own way, and I think it's done that for a lot of people. Of
Hmm.
course, you have the downside to that, where there are people, there are crowds and groups that take it too
Oh
serious, and
yeah,
they
dude.
treat and that's not what it's about. It's just really about having fun, I think, and that's what you don't get with tennis so much.
Yeah, yeah, pretty snooty out there in the tennis world. Yeah,
Right.
and so I brought this up on other podcasts, and we talked to I want to say Dink Doctor or something like that, where pickleball is a therapy, and maybe there's something for us down the road because I do think there is in the military world, and I'm in law enforcement now,
Yeah.
and I think there's something there, right? That it is allowing you to connect to something bigger, to a community and people who will actually put their arms around you when you're having dark days and dark thoughts, right?
Yeah.
So I've always thought about that. So how I can get involved in bringing that to because like faith, right? How you don't see a ton of cops in the pews, and I wish there were more. I really do.
Yeah.
But sometimes the job doesn't allow you to, and sometimes it's you had bad experiences or trauma at a church one time or another. But I think that pickleball is that community that really could help someone with their PTSD or their trauma they were going through. So I'd love to be looking at something like that down the road.
Yeah, I think that's great. You talk about church and for me, I'd grown up going to church and when I really started, church is great. Church is someone like my brother who's a lot different than me, never struggled with any addiction issues,
Hmm.
never struggled. He's really active in his church. He serves in his church. He does all this stuff in his church. And then someone like me that struggled with drug addiction, that struggled with all these things, struggle with PTSD issues from Afghanistan, struggle with it's like, man, I found the real help, you know, it wasn't in a church. It was rehab. It was someone
Yeah.
around me. It was in an AA meeting. It was someone around me that had been, real life experience with drugs as well as me.
Hmm.
It was someone I could relate to,
Yeah.
someone they swore, they cussed, they talked like this, they did this, but they were talking about real stuff that really, was of help to me. And I think there's people that need that too. So it's like, where can you reach these law enforcement officers? Where can you reach these people that were in the military? Where can you reach these drug addicts? maybe doing something like that, playing pickleball or somewhere out in the street, somewhere out in public, out in real life, you know?
Yeah, where you can take off that ego, take off that trauma, set it aside for a little bit, and just be in the moment.
Yeah,
And you look at Jesus, and it tells you numerous times he didn't hang out with guys who are saved. He hung out with notorious sinners, right? The worst of the worst, because he needed to reach those people.
that's
So
right.
and I've always said if I was going to start a motorcycle club or gang, it would be notorious sinners. I think that I think that would be awesome. So let's talk.
Yeah.
So there's got to be, when they're listening to the podcast, there's a guy or a girl scrolling right now, listening to the podcast, watching your videos. What's the one thing you hope they hear between the flex and the algorithm and all that? What's the one message that you want to make sure you carry through?
Yeah, that, you know, that we're all capable. We all have a purpose outside of our everyday job, our everyday life. You know, we all have a purpose and we're all capable of fulfilling that purpose and being of service to other people. And I think a lot of people forget that, you know. And I know for me, it was easy to forget, you know, struggling with addiction issues, struggling with these different things. You feel like, man, I've lost it all. I've got nothing. I've got nothing to live for. I've got nothing, and there's no hope for me. There's no bright future ahead. And that's just not the case, you know. I never would have imagined I'm doing what I do now and reaching the people that I'm able to reach now. You know, I could never have predicted that. I could have never have seen that. But if I'd have told myself, you know, and believed that that's never going to happen, or I'm never going to be able to do anything like that, you know, then that's not a good way to live. You know, it gives you no motivation to continue on in life. And so I think the thing is just to not give up. You know, you got to keep pushing. You have to believe that there's more, that there are good things for you, no matter what you've done, no matter where you've gone, no matter, you know, what you've experienced. There is something good. There is something better than where you're at now if you're not in a great place. You just have to do the work to kind of find that, you know, and you have to set everything else aside and just say, hey, I'm going to focus on fulfilling my purpose. What does that look like? What is my purpose? How do I figure out what my purpose is? Well, what are you passionate about? You know,
Yeah.
what really are you passionate about? You know, are you an artist? Are you passionate about music? Are you, you know, what is it that you're passionate about? And then how can you use that to serve other people? You know, I never thought comedy would be a way to be of service to other people, you know, until I started I started doing comedy. I started making funny videos. And then God showed me, like, oh, you're doing this, but the real purpose is this, you know,
Yeah.
like you're making people laugh, but oh, here's these people messaging you that are really, you know, finding help from your videos. They're really, you know, you're changing their life in a way that you didn't foresee changing their life just from making a silly, funny little video.
Did you kind of run
But
away from that a
here's
little
the
bit?
real purpose. No, I didn't run away from it. I embraced it whenever it started happening, but I would say that that wasn't the intent whenever I started this. I wasn't thinking I'm going to start making these funny videos with the intention of reaching people in order to be of service to them and help them. That honestly wasn't like my thought process whenever I started making funny videos. It just happened that way. And so I think definitely didn't run away from it. More of like I discovered it, realized what was going on, and then embraced it.
I got you. So you didn't need to be swallowed by a whale and carried over to another country to figure out your purpose, right?
Yeah, maybe in my own way. Maybe the whale was rehab for the fifth time, you know?
Sure. Yeah, I could see that for sure.
3 months of rehab was my whale.
Yeah, like let's get it done. Okay, let's be done with this. We're going to drop you here in Nineveh, and you got to start doing some good things. You know,
That's right.
that's awesome. So I see you rubbing elbows with celebrities and everything like that. I'm sure you get recognized now. You have tons of followers. Anybody you haven't met yet that you really want to meet?
Oh, I would say Shane Gillis. I always have liked
Okay.
Shane Gillis. I love his
Yeah.
comedy. I love what he's doing. I've had some people that I know that have met him, so I'm thinking him or Joe Rogan maybe
Yeah,
too would
dude.
be cool.
Yeah, he's right in my neck of the woods. We're here in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
He's right down the road from me. Yeah. Hey, Joe, shout out if you want to have me on your podcast. I'm all about it.
Do it, man. Do it.
So, you know, with all the fit to serve stuff, and I mentioned you getting recognized. How was that sat on you? You know, because a long time ago in another galaxy, I had like a couple videos on TikTok go viral, right? And so in the local community, I got noticed a couple times. But at your level now, I mean, you've got to be noticed everywhere. How's that kind of set on you? Is it overwhelming at times for you?
No, it's been great. I think for me, when it starts happening, it is like, yeah, like, whoa, this is different. This is new. This is interesting. You kind of never know. It started making me learn to be a little bit more aware. Aware of what I'm talking about. Aware, I'm trying to be authentically me and everything, but I'm also trying not to be offensive to anyone at the same time. Because when you have a little bit of an audience, it's like those are things you kind of have to think about. And so it's definitely made me a little bit more aware, but it's something that I thoroughly enjoy. I love meeting people. I love when people come up and talk to me and say, hey, and, share their experience with how or why they like my videos. This will, this is cool. This happened the other day, actually. This might be one of yeah, I've had some cool interactions. I had like Drew Brees
Right.
tell me that he's a fan of
Right.
mine, one time at the Super Bowl, which was really cool. But the other day, gosh, it was probably Thursday, I think, this past Thursday. CMA Fest was going on here in Nashville, and that's a big weekend where, really all week it's something going on, and, everybody comes in from out of town, all this stuff's going on. I think President Trump even was talking about CMA
Yep.
week on some, video. So it's a big, big thing. And outside my apartment, I noticed all these police officers, a SWAT truck, all this stuff. And I'm like, something's got to be going on, man. Well, I walk out, and as I'm walking out, and then I do have a good amount of law enforcement and everything and firefighters that follow my page and love my content and everything. So usually whenever I see
Firefighters are only
police
following
or
you for the
something like that,
mustache.
someone are coming there. Yeah, I know, right? Usually someone will say, hey. And so this SWAT guy who's all decked out and all his gear comes up, and he's standing in the lobby of my apartment, because this is going on right outside my apartment, which is downtown in Nashville. And he comes up and says, hey, and, says he loves my stuff. And I was like, oh, cool. So I walk outside, there's all these people standing out there, and then finally find out that vice president is in town.
Oh, nice.
So, and he's actually, the vice president's there, and Kid Rock opened a restaurant right across the street from my apartment, and it opened last week. So it just opened. So they're doing this little grand opening thing. And the vice president was doing Theo Von's podcast.
That's right, yeah.
And they were recording it in Kid Rock's restaurant right across the street from my
man, that's
apartment. So
nice.
this was going on. The vice president's out there. So we're standing there, and there's a little small group of protesters, and there's people all over the place. Well, there's Secret Service, decked out, wearing their suits. I think one even had a vest on that said Secret Service. And I'm standing there, and I see the Secret Service people like pointing at me and talking,
No.
And I'm sitting there with another guy, and I'm thinking, oh, crap, what's going on here?
What do they
But
know?
one of them walks up, yeah, and he comes as close as he can. There's like a barrier that was keeping us back, and he's like, I just want to say, man, I love your content. This is Secret Service
Dang,
guy,
dude.
And I was like, oh, that's
Did
awesome,
you get a coin?
man. And I was like, he was like, let's take a selfie. Well, he turned around. He had to be like still like 15, 20 feet away, as close as he could get. He kind of walks out into the street. I think he was trying to do this without saying anything, because he didn't want people to not see him doing his job or something. But he was like, let's take a selfie. So I had to kind of like turn around from a distance with him in the background waving.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Then I was like, dang, the Secret Service, this dude's like right there with the vice president every day.
Yeah. Well, how different would that?
I wonder if the vice president, he's probably showing the vice president my video.
So, Evan, what's on the horizon with you? Any
Right.
partnerships coming up, or anything you can reveal to us that maybe people don't know yet?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things going on. The influencing piece is how I make a living. It's what I've been doing full time for about 3 years now, which is crazy to say, but it's been a lot of fun. It allows me to do my comedy thing and make videos, and then, allows me to do that for a living. So I have a lot of fun with it, but it had kind of been a little bit slow starting out this year, with the new president and some changes and people talking about tariffs and all this kind of stuff. It just had slowed down a lot of work for everybody. But now it's picking back up. So we have a lot of cool things going on. About 5 or 6 new deals starting this month. So that's good. Do a lot, with the fitness space and clothing and everything. So, of course, I got Chubby's Clothing that I'm still working
Nice.
with, and Valère Pickleball, paddle company and everything. But we got some new ones coming. So Bulkhead Energy, we're not going to be drinking this Red Bull anymore. We're going to be drinking Bulkhead, veteran-owned company. He actually has two companies. Bulkhead is the new energy drink company, which you'll be able to find on a lot of military bases. He's a former Marine, so there's a lot of Marine. I think they're in all the Marine bases right now, trying to get into the Army PXs, I believe, is what's coming next. But he owns also Savage Tacticians clothing company. So if you're familiar with Savage Tacticians, it's pretty sweet. I kind of think of it like the Chubbies of the veteran clothing space. You know, I'm excited about that one.
That'd be cool. So let's give out all your social handles so everybody can find you.
Yeah. So if you search Fit to Serve pretty much on any platform, I should pop up. Instagram is Fit to Serve 1, but if you search Fit to Serve, you'll still see me. Then of course TikTok and Facebook's Fit to Serve as well. And actually I'm doing some stuff on YouTube and trying to grow the YouTube page, so some long form videos will be coming out soon. And that's Fit to Serve as well.
Awesome, Evan. Thanks so much, Evan Slaughter, being here with Fit to Serve. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule, Evan. I love the content you're putting out. Keep doing it. If there's stuff for us to do down the road, please hit us up and let us know. We'll be right there for you, my man.
Heck yeah, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Dink or Destroy is powered by Paddle Hands.
Oh, yeah.
Give your paddle a hand. Turn your paddle and fist bump like you mean it. These silicone caps bring personality, edge, and just the right amount of chaos to your court vibes. Super fun, super cool. And then you go on our Instagram and you'll see I got smacked in the face with a paddle.
You did.
When we were paddle tapping, and that would not happen with
That's how theirs was born.
hand.
Theirs was born out of the same thing.
Exactly. So make sure you use Big Dink Energy 10 for your code at paddlehand.com. That's singular hand.com to save 10%, and follow them at _paddlehands, plural, and bring the fun.
Love it.
I'm looking forward to those.
All right. So for Dink or Destroy today, we have unsolicited advice from open play people.
Ooh.
So we're either going to dink it like, hey, they're just trying to help, or we're going to destroy it like, hey, we didn't ask for a TED Talk.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Right.
Gotcha.
So you just missed like a shot, and suddenly like a guy with his Skechers on comes on over.
Whoa. You're going to be on New Balance next?
I was going to ask that.
Sorry, Skechers. We still want you as a sponsor. Also, you New Balance.
And then they just give you like a full-on coaching session like you didn't ask for. Are we like for that, or are we dinking, or are we destroying?
Are they wearing jean shorts?
Are we looking at their outfit first? Is that how we're going to determine whether?
This is a judgment.
This is judgment.
This is completely situational.
Yeah.
I agree.
Are you in the fitness realm? Like you're fit looking?
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
No, I mean, yeah. But I mean, I don't want some corpulent person out there either.
I've seen tons of people that are bigger boned.
Oh, bigger boned.
And I'm bigger boned.
What are they, brontosauruses?
I'm just saying that I don't think that has anything to do with it. I think it's how they approach it.
Absolutely. That is what matters.
Because almost everybody, when I play open play that has this like, oh, scoot back a little bit or scoot forward, they always do it with like a great attitude, and it's like a quick, it's like just the tip. Like, oh, if you did this, or turn your paddle this way, or, if you serve with it like this, it will help. But there has been probably a time or two where I'm like, STFU. Like, I'm like,
what's that mean?
It just means, hi, no thank you.
Oh.
STFU.
Weird acronym.
STFU.
Thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah, so I'm looking at your outfit. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at if I saw you playing already, I mean, there's some people that are standing there watching us, and I'd rather trust like a dog with one leg than this person with their Dollar Tree paddle. You know what I mean?
Sometimes I feel and I hate the word mansplained.
Oh.
I don't like that word, but I feel like it's like pickleball splained, however you want to say that. Pickle
I completely understand.
And it's like there's
pickle splained. I like
pickle splained. Yeah. Like there's a way of giving advice that doesn't make you sound like
go ahead and say it. Yep.
a
D-bag.
A D-bag.
Oh,
right,
a D-bag now. Okay.
Like I'm like, don't be douchey about it. I don't know how to say it.
No, I completely understand. I feel like it's the energy that you give off.
Right.
Like if we're playing and you're my partner and you're just like, hey, scoot up. Hey, this is what you need to do. All right, cool. We're doing this, and you have good energy throughout the thing. But if you're like, you need to go over here. You need to do that.
if you'd hit the ball from the bottom, it'd spin.
At that
Something like
point,
that.
I'm
Yeah.
hitting you with my paddle and I'm walking off the court. Like, just don't talk to me like that.
Right.
Everybody has enough stress in their life. The last thing that they need is somebody that they just met, putting them down and speaking, like barking at them over
Right.
something.
Or it's like, hey, I'm a duper 5. Do you want my advice?
No.
Well, not if you approach me like that.
Did you say doucher
No.
5?
I don't.
Did you say doucher 5? Yeah. So, I
Right,
mean,
I
I
don't
am all
care.
about learning. I have learned so much from so many gracious people
Yeah.
at open plays that have just shared their knowledge in such a fun way. That is
And
literally
those are the awesome people.
that is literally how I have learned so much pickleball is just
yeah.
from playing with other people
Yeah.
and them being gracious with their knowledge.
Yeah.
And then I like to pass that on to people too, but I think it's just the way. So I'm a huge dink for unsolicited advice if it's done quick, casual, and with a cool vibe.
Mhm.
If it's done in a douchey way that just those people that just like to hear themselves talk and like, oh, look at me,
Yeah, has his Hawaiian shirt all open, and he's wearing a pickleball pendant necklace.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that kind.
That sounds
Um,
pretty specific.
Miami douche.
Yeah.
Or the people like at conferences that raise their hand and like just repeat.
Yeah.
They just
Stuff
want to
they-
be heard.
Repeat something into
look
a
at
question.
how much I know.
Yeah.
Yep.
That I am a destroy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
other
I'm the
than that,
same.
I'm open minded to it.
I feel the exact same. It's a complete dink for me if you're doing it with a good heart and you have good energy and you're just out there having fun and like, hey, like try this. This will help you. If your intentions are good, then that's going to come through in your
Mhm.
energy. If your intentions are just to be an asshole, then don't talk to me because I'm going to match that energy and it's going to turn out bad.
Yeah, there's gonna be some eye rolling.
Stephanie
and-
just turns and looks at me and gives me this look and I'm like, okay, now I know something's happening and I need to just keep
I'm
an
like-
eye out on that court.
Yeah.
I'm not being pickle splained too
Pickle
Right.
explained.
Pickle explained. Ooh, there's a good one.
by a pickle Richard.
Yeah.
Like it.
There
Yep.
we go.
I don't
Yeah.
like Pickle Richards.
Yeah, so you're a dink. You're a dink in the right way. I'm
Mhm.
also a dink if it's done in the right way. But if you're a D bag, as we said, out there trying to,
A dink bag.
yeah, a dink bag. I like that.
Coming up with all kinds of
I know,
terms
that's what
tonight.
we
I
should
like
say,
it.
Dink bag, because I was
Yeah.
afraid to say douche.
Yeah, I don't know if we
douche.
can say that.
No, I've said
No.
Well,
it
we're saying
twice.
No, we said it twice.
So dink bag.
Here
Dink
co-
bag
Here comes the
and
cancellation.
Pickle Richard and what
Pickle
else did you say?
splained.
Pickle
Pickle-splained.
splained.
Yeah.
No more pickle
I'm gonna start
splaining.
a dictionary.
No more pickle splaining. Didn't you already do that?
Dictionary.
A dictionary.
I already did that. It's on our Instagram. You
Okay,
can
knock
find
it off.
Check it out
please.
on the
We're all a
Instagram.
dink on it.
We're all
Thank
a
you.
Dink.
Thank you very much.
News you can use.
Right from the live news desk, pre-recorded podcasting.
All right, guys. So I wanted to share something that I read this weekend, and it is called Pickleball for a Purpose. And I don't know if you've heard of this football player, Gronkowski.
Yeah, he's
He's
And-
done
four-time Super Bowl champion,
Yeah.
Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was joined on the court by former Pats wide receiver Julian Edelman.
Edelman, yes.
Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Rob Ninkovich.
Yep. Ninkovich.
And,
We're all Pats fans
and
over here.
former safety Patrick Chung.
Yep.
As well as his brother, Gordy Gronkowski Jr.
Oh, yeah, all the Gronkowskis. There's like 4 or 5 of them. They're all
Well,
sporty.
he played 3 seasons in minor league baseball, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So Gronk's foundation, Gronk Nation Foundation, and the foundation, the Jimmy Fund, came together and basically did a big fundraiser with this pickleball game. So they had different levels. So they had like different teams try to raise different amounts. The top couple tiers, like you got to play a game with Gronk and the other Pats players, and you got to do a meet and greet with them, and you got to do all of these great, amazing things. But everything went towards the 2 foundations. So they had the 2 different foundations, and the Jimmy Fund supports adults in pediatric cancer care and research at the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. And then half of the funds that were raised by the Pickleball for a Purpose were used to build a playground in Boston.
That's awesome.
So this is high profile people with high profile foundations that they're using pickleball as a way to raise money for them. So I thought that was really awesome. I thought that, it's bringing pickleball into
Other sports.
other sports, every community. It's like, okay, you've never heard of pickleball before. Do you want to meet Gronk? Donate some money and go play with him.
Yeah,
Figure it
that's
out,
cool.
you know?
Yep.
It's not like your typical fundraisers. And what it looks like is going to be like an annual thing, which I'm kind of hoping it is because I feel like it's a great purpose.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it is an annual thing. I think I read something about this.
Awesome.
But yeah, and they raise a ton of money, and they did that playground. And I love that
Yeah.
celebrities are getting involved in pickleball, because the money's there. I mean, there's a ton of money in this sport, but the celebrities bringing it to the forefront is what's going to propel us in this sport even further. So yeah,
Last I checked, they raised $81,040.
mhm.
Wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And I think that their goal was $150,000.
And you can still go give.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Cool.
so they had a couple different tiers with their things so that you got, photos, drinks, but the top ones got to go and actually play
That's cool.
That'd be
pickleball with
awesome.
them.
Yeah. Hey, Gronk, come on the podcast.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on.
All right. So, how many pickles is too many pickles?
For
This
what?
is
To
some
like
of-
to eat?
This is some of your water cooler talk tomorrow at work. So,
2 pickles. I could eat 2 pickles.
how about 11 pickles on a burger? Too many?
Like, are they the
Whole
the-
pickles,
Yeah,
slices.
are they the little
Slices. Yeah.
No,
Oh,
that's
no.
a lot.
So, Burger King's Pickleball Burger, in honor of a
Oh,
partnership with,
Japanese?
with the Japan Pickleball Federation, Burger King unveiled the Pickleball Burger. Shout out to my niece Reagan over there. 3
Hey,
beef
Reagan, we miss you.
patties and 11 pickle sandwich between 2 specially made rice patties.
Mhm.
You can get it for a limited time. You also have to get on a plane and go to Japan because it's the only place it is. Fast food franchise signed a sponsorship deal with the Japan Pickleball Federation. The new partnership is stepping into the spotlight this June, right now, at the PJF Pickleball Japan Open in Sasebo, Japan.
Okay.
Then
Good job.
rolling through Tokyo's Ariake district for the Burger King Cup in August.
Yeah, I sent this to my niece.
Yeah.
I saw it and I was like, go have this burger
Go
for
get
me.
it for us.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a
She's
massive
over
burger.
there teaching English to first grade Japanese students.
Mhm.
So anytime I see stuff, and when I saw that it was pickleball and it was Japan, I sent it immediately to her. I think it's so cool. So I told her, go eat one and take a picture.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll put that up on our Instagram when she does that. We might have to send her money to do that.
Bless
Is
her
it
heart.
yen?
What?
Is it yen?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be massive, though.
Yeah. So it's three patties and 11 pickles. I mean, that is.
It looked amazing. Did
It
you see
did.
the
Yeah, I
photo?
saw the photo.
Yeah, it looked really cool.
Looked
So
really good.
I'm
in.
game. They should bring it here.
Yeah, I'm
'cause
a
yeah.
drink on that.
rice patties sound really cool.
Yeah, better than those
Yeah.
sesame seed buns.
Yeah,
Oh.
for sure. Bring it to
I don't know
America.
about rice
Coming
patties.
to America.
Good Lord. That's it for this episode. Unless you've got something to say, think we got it wrong, have a better take, we want to hear it. Find us at bdepodcast.com or at BDE Podcast on the socials. Drop us a message. We might just feature you in the next episode. If you had a good time, well, samesies. If not, maybe try again. We grow on people. So you know the deal. Follow the show, tell a friend, and leave us a review. Or just pretend this never happened. Until next time, keep the dink soft and the energy big.